Welcome to LFC Transfer HQ, your ultimate source for all things Liverpool FC transfers. Like and subscribe for more football updates. Our first news is 3 Liverpool players showed true colours after Carabao Cup final defeat to Newcastle. Liverpool suffered a painful defeat to Newcastle United at Wembley, but plenty noticed the reaction of 3 of the losing finalists after going to collect their medals. Liverpool's Carabao Cup final defeat to Newcastle will have been tough to take for all concerned. Several Red Stars didn't hide away after the game, though. Federico Chiesa's stoppage-time goal wasn't enough for the Premier League leaders, who lost 2-1 after goals from Dan Burn and Alexander Isak either side of the half-time break. Following the final whistle, it came time to collect the runners-up medals. While most walked to the right after picking up their medals, others turned towards the victorious Newcastle players. Andy Robertson led the way, followed by Alisson and Cody Gakpo, with all 3 congratulating the victors. The Red Stars know exactly what it is like to win silverware. In fact, those 3 men know exactly what it's like to win this specific trophy, with Robertson and Gakpo starting the victorious 2024 final and Alisson on the bench when Liverpool won in 2022. It was a very different story for Newcastle, of course. Not only was it a first career trophy for many of their players, but it was the first trophy of any kind which the majority of their fans have seen the Magpies win. Noted by the Echo, Alisson spoke with Burn, who opened the scoring with a pinpoint header, among other Newcastle players. Emile Croft was the first to be embraced by Robertson as the winners waited for their own medals, while Gakpo hung around to congratulate several Newcastle stars. The defeat marked the end of a painful week for Liverpool's players and manager. In the space of less than 7 days, Arne Slot and his men suffered crushing defeats in 2 competitions, with Paris Saint-Germain eliminating them from the Champions League on penalties. Slot's team are still strong favourites to end the season as Premier League champions. They sit 12 points clear of closest challengers Arsenal with 9 matches remaining, the first of which is a Merseyside derby at Anfield on April 2. For Newcastle, the victory ended a long 70-year wait for a domestic trophy. Liverpool's manager, however, wasn't convinced that made the crucial difference at Wembley. No, because it's 70 years since they last won a trophy maybe, but that's for the fans, Slot said in his post-match press conference. Players have 15 years to play football and they want to win every single trophy they are competing for. That's also what we want. But it was a game that went the way they wanted it to go. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HG, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more Liverpool FC transfer news. Our second news is Premier League Supercomputer predicts every team's finishing position and points total. As the Premier League enters the business end of the season, Opta have predicted the final standings of all 20 clubs as Liverpool close in on a historic 20th title victory. As we head into the final run of Premier League games, Opta's Supercomputer has predicted how the final table will look on May 25. Following the conclusion of Matchday 29, the final international break of the campaign has begun and almost every side has just 9 games left to play. Newcastle and Crystal Palace are the 2 outliers due to the Magpies' Carabao Cup triumph on Sunday. Beaten finalists Liverpool, though, got their game out of the way last month as they drew 2-2 with Aston Villa. Despite seeing their Champions League and Carabao Cup hopes ended last week, Liverpool remain 12 points clear in the title race and Opta is confident Arne Slot's side will win the league. Liverpool have been given a 99.13% chance of triumph, while Arsenal have a 0.87% chance of overturning the 12-point deficit. Instead, Opta believe Arsenal will finish second and Nottingham Forest, Manchester City and Newcastle will join them in qualifying for next season's Champions League. Although it is only the top 4 that typically qualify for the tournament, the Premier League looks set to be given an extra place as they currently top the UEFA coefficient rankings. Chelsea, who currently sit 4th in the league, have been tipped to finish 6th and miss out on Champions League football for the 3rd consecutive campaign. Opta has only given the Blues a 24.4% chance of qualification. Chelsea have not been at their best in recent weeks, losing 3 of their last 5 league games, while star man Cole Palmer is without a goal in his last 10 matches. Brighton have been tipped to finish 7th, followed by Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace and Brentford. All 6 of those teams have been given a slender chance of making a late push for the Champions League. Manchester United, though, have been back to finish 13th and are the first club with no chance of reaching the Champions League following an awful campaign so far. They are followed by Tottenham, West Ham, Everton and Wolves. The bottom 3 is predicted to remain the same, with all 3 promoted teams going straight back down. Southampton have been given no chance to save themselves and Saints boss Ivan Juric has already admitted his side will go down. Leicester have been given a 99.54% of joining them, with Ruud van Nistelrooy's side having become the first side in Premier League history to lose 7 straight home games without scoring. Ipswich have a 99.23% chance of going down, but have failed to pick up a league victory in 2025. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HG, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more. Our third news is Liverpool's nightmare week shifts focus back to contract situation. Something has to give. Arne Slot has been able to brush the issue aside until now but would surely like some clarity on the futures of Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Most of them probably did not need one, but the past week has been something of a reality check for Liverpool fans. Their team is, by some considerable margin, the best in the Premier League and it is certainly more entertaining to watch than it is often given credit for. Liverpool have the competition's outstanding attacker in Mohamed Salah and the outstanding defender in Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool will be mighty impressive champions, but the evidence presented by the Champions League exit and defeat in the Carabao Cup final suggests the squad is not yet deep enough for it to be all-conquering in the same way that, for example, Manchester City were in their treble-winning season. Arne Slot has not had an overly difficult time with injuries in his first season in English football, but he has still not rotated to the extent that might be expected. Harvey Elliott, Wataru Endo and Federico Chiesa have yet to start a Premier League game. It is clear Slot will want significant recruitment ahead of next season. But just how significant is, to some extent, dependent on how the contract issues are resolved. Until now, Slot has been able to almost ignore the quite unusual impasse between the club and 3 pillars of the playing staff. But 2 high-profile, painful losses on the spin will change that. With only the procession to the Premier League title to complete, thoughts are bound to turn to next season. Any narrative that suggests this has not been a great season for Liverpool should be treated with the indifference it deserves, but after the disappointment of Wembley and the PSG reverse, it would be a huge boost to Liverpool fans if Salah, Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold committed themselves to the long-term ambitions of the club sooner rather than later. No one can question the 100% commitment shown by these players over the entire course of this season. It is a big part of the reason why Liverpool have a 12-point lead in the Premier League. But when Salah has the type of ineffective performance he had at Wembley, it is inevitable the more cynical will wonder if the contract situation is having an effect. And great leader that he is, Van Dijk fronts up brilliantly, win or lose. As it happens, he was also one of the better Liverpool players in the Carabao Cup final, but he cannot suggest this scenario is normal. Liverpool have only 9 matches left to play this season and there is still a chance that Salah, Alexander-Arnold and Van Dijk have only 9 matches left to play in a Liverpool shirt. Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.